We got the story from the Daily Mail. Exclusive. Joe Biden could become embroiled in the FBI's probe into Hunter's finances. Experts say. I love that experts say. Emails reveal they shared bank accounts, paid each other's bills, and the president may have even funded his son's 2018 drug and prostitution binge. Whew. We're going to be a little careful on this one because we try to be a family-friendly show. But when it comes to the president and his son, it's anything but family-friendly. From Joe Biden touching children and sniffing them inappropriately to his son doing crack. I'm sorry, we can only cover up so much in an attempt to protect your children's ears. The Daily Mail says President Joe Biden could become embroiled in an FBI investigation. Let me just stop and say, yeah, right. As if they're going to do anything. Emails recovered by DailyMail.com from Hunter's abandoned laptop. Between Hunter and Eric Schwerin, his business partner at Rosemont Seneca, show Schwerin was working on Joe's taxes, discussing the father and son paying each other's household bills, and even fielding requests for a book deal for the then vice president. Yikes! It is unclear why Schwerin had the intimate role in the vice president's affairs rather than government officials in the office of the vice president. Hunter's claim that he and his father shared a bank account also raises serious questions whether funds from the alleged joint account were used for Hunter's May 2018 week-long bender. Well, look, if you have a bank account, it's got $1 in it, and then someone puts $1 in it, the money is mixed up now. And then if you take $1 out, yeah, sorry, we don't play that game. This is how, like, you know, when the feds go after money laundering, you can't just be like, it's one bank account, but all of our money is different. They're going to be like, nah, you're mixing it all together. They say last December, Hunter admitted in a public statement that he was under federal investigation over his tax affairs. All right, let's slow down for a second. So now we're learning Joe Biden sharing a bank account with his son. Hunter Biden on the board of Burisma getting paid, what was it, $83,000 per month?
Yeah.
Burisma being investigated, or I should say Mykola Zlochevsky, the founder of it, being investigated by the prosecutor Victor Shokin. Joe Biden goes to Ukraine and says, if you don't fire the prosecutor, you don't get, was it $1 billion?
Yeah,
I think it was.
It was a huge amount.
And so they say, okay, fine. They fire the prosecutor. Official narrative from the U.S. establishment mainstream media is, oh, they fired him because he wasn't investigating this guy. So Hunter Biden, who has no business being on the board of this company, a company that's under investigation, getting paid $83,000, sharing a bank account with his dad. His dad then goes in, fires a prosecutor who was investigating the company. We know this from Matt Taibbi's reporting. Sounds like Joe Biden was protecting his own assets by going to Ukraine, getting this guy fired. It wasn't about corruption. It wasn't about anything other than his own corruption. So what do we do with information like that? I'm shrugging for those that are watching.
Do a TV show and talk about it.
Do a TV show.
Fortunately, you already have the TV show, so let's talk about it.
We can all shake our fists in the air and then tomorrow wake up because nothing changes.
No, this dude's a scumbag, and I think this is going to be big news. They tried to hide the laptop scandal with the Post story.
Yeah, you brought up a very important point here, Ian. The fact that there was so much censorship, especially around the Hunter Biden email stories, because the Daily Mail says that they got this story from the emails. So the fact that there was so much suppression shows that they actually do care about what the public thinks about them. They actually do need the public to acquiesce. And there's a large number of voters that said that if they knew about these emails, they would have voted differently. So this, of course, has a lot of implications. I mean, we know he lied about the on the ATF form when it comes to buying firearms. He lied about a lot of other things as well that he should have been, be held responsible for, liable for. I mean, the guy is on video committing acts. There's photos of him committing acts that we can't even mention here on YouTube.
Let me read this portion of the story because y'all's jaws are gonna hit the floor.
No.
Hunter and Schwerin privately discussed the potential to ingratiate themselves with, quote, CEOs of the major banks if they helped arrange the request. This is to Senator Robert Menendez, who requested VP Biden host the U.S.-Spain's Council 2010 annual meeting at his official Naval Observatory residence in D.C. They contacted Schwerin rather than Joe's White House office. Interestingly, we then see this. Hunter complained that half of his salary went to paying his father's bills while he was VP, casting doubt on Joe's previous claim that he's never benefited from his son's business dealings. In a 2019 text to his daughter Naomi, he wrote, I hope you all can do what I did and pay for everything for this entire family for 30 years. It's really hard, but don't worry. Unlike Pop, I won't make you give me half your salary. So that's previously uncovered information. Now we have Joe Biden sharing a bank account with his son. Let me explain something to y'all. I have an accountant, and I'm like, hey, what can I do to help help my family out? And he goes, nothing.
Oh.
Nothing. You cannot do anything special for family for the most part. There's certain things like friends and family, with investment stuff. But if you want to give someone money, it's taxed. It's either a gift up to a certain limit. Right now, I believe the limit is $15,000. And after that, you got to pay taxes on it. If they're splitting bank accounts and they're as wealthy as, we know they're wealthy, then this is, what is this, tax avoidance?
How much money went into this bank account?
I don't know for sure. I don't know for sure. And I think the issue is, as soon as they mix their finances, questions have to be raised about any and all of their finances.
All of them, yeah. I was going to say, I heard a really familiar name in this story, and that was Bob Menendez. Do you guys remember Bob Menendez and what he got in trouble for? Something about the Dominican Republic and some kind of...
Young women?
Young ladies, yes, we'll put it that way. So as far as I'm concerned, I don't see anything bad ever happening to the Bidens based on what happened to Bob Menendez, a.k.a. nothing.
I don't think anything's going to happen. Look... It's kind of funny when, under Trump, they were like, Trump won't be investigated because Bill Barr is his lackey and it's never going to happen. And I'm sitting here like, and Merrick Garland, what's he going to do? You think Merrick Garland's going to go after Joe Biden and be like, lock him up? He's going to be like, hey, Joe, they're talking about you. Can I have some money? There you go.
Yep.
I think it's also hilarious that this is the same president lecturing parents about how they should raise their children. I mean, are you kidding
Low
me?
blow.
Yeah.
No, it's fair.
Let's be serious here. I mean, if you're Hunter Biden's father, you can't be telling other people how to raise your children.
Fair
You
point.
can't be telling people to, giving them specific, because he came out and said, if you're not following the science, if you're not taking these procedures, you're not raising your children right. And again, there's a lot to say about that, but there's just so much corruption, so much dirtiness. I mean, we have the flights to China, we have the business dealings with Ukraine, we have so many companies just intertwined. And yesterday on the show, I specifically said, sorry, I'm having like headphones problems, and I keep hearing myself back, so I keep getting distracted.
He's losing his mind. Sorry, Luke.
It's just weird hearing your own voice, but
Yeah.
there's so many instances, and as I said yesterday, this country has been sold for pennies on the dollar. And the way you buy influence, the way that you buy off politicians, the way that our system works is incredibly easy for a third party to come in and to manipulate this for their own benefit in so many different ways. Having videos of Biden doing unspeakable things with women, with relatives, with family members. I mean, that's top-notch, top-level extortion level material that could be leveraged that we know many foreign countries had before. Now, this is what we know. What don't we know about? What wasn't in the emails that we still don't know about that maybe foreign countries have that could be using to exploit the current president of the United States? You
know how I feel about this story? I feel like, we get this bombshell revelation. Oh, Joe Biden's sharing banks, like they're funding each other, and Joe Biden potentially paying for hookers and stuff. I feel like I just burst into the room and I'm like, everybody listen, Joe Biden's a corrupt. And everyone's like, oh, we know.
Yeah.
What is this?
Yeah.
What are you even talking about? And I'm like, but we have the story. And they're like, yeah, whatever. What do you do? Are we going to see a red wave in 2022, maybe, an impeachment? The dude needs to be impeached, please.
Yeah, but then we're going to have, President Kamala and her child actors that she hires to cackle and laugh into the camera as she does weird, strange, bizarre videos promoting space and looking at the craters of the moon for some reason. It's reassuring, with all the economic calamities, with so much problems that the White House is spending money on child actors to convey people about looking at the moon. I mean, are you freaking kidding me? They're so out of touch with reality. They hope no one's paying attention. They want you to feel like, hey, there's so much corruption, it's just okay. It's the new norm. It's not. It's not okay. And I think there's a reason, what Ian brought up here, that censorship happened of these emails. The censorship was crucial. I think it would have made a big impact in the elections, and I think it's going to make an impact later down the line in this political spectrum when people look at the president, look at the clear corruption, look at the clear dereliction of duty, look at the clear mess left by him and being like, how could we not seen this happening? Well, because of big tech social online censorship.
I would like to make 2 points. I would like to make 2 points about that. The guys in the chat are going nuts about my not being loud enough, so I'm speaking
Speak up
up.
a little bit. Here we go.
All right. I would like to point out, I would like to say that Jean Baudrillard is going to be spinning in his grave over that stunt that Kamala pulled. Absolutely
The child
unbelievable, because every ounce of that is fake. The whole thing is a prefabricated commercial where you're supposed to bring people in so that Kamala has a chance to go out and impress them. So it's a setup to begin with. But it's not even a real setup. It's supposed to be a setup of a spontaneous moment, but it's not even a real setup of a spontaneous moment. It's a fake setup of a spontaneous moment. It's 2 levels of fake. It's a fake of a fake. It's a copy of a copy. So they have actors who are paid to act like they're real people so that Kamala can come in and act like it's a spontaneous moment that's not set up and prefabricated ahead of time.
That they auditioned for.
Yes. So you had to audition for a spontaneous moment.
What a creepy fake reality.
Who's
huh?
the last genuine president? I guess Trump was not. Nah, he wasn't genuine either. The way he said. Now I'm getting that weird tinny sound in my headphones. The way he said. Ghislaine, he wishes her well.
I don't know. I think Trump was very straightforward, and he just bluntly said that and many other things.
Maybe Trump. Before that, Jimmy Carter, because Reagan was full of it. I try to watch old interviews with Reagan, and he's just like smiling and like, oh, they're gonna.
He was an actor.
It's all theater. It's all a show. That's why they're literally building a stage for Joe Biden to not be in the White House. That's as it's played on like a theater.
Yes.
Everything we're seeing is just horse and pony. It's all a showcase. It's
Horse
all
and
meant
pony.
to fool you into this larger kind of illusion that they actually have power over you when they desperately need to have that conviction.
Well, we have more news. Ladies and gentlemen, Joe Biden's aggregate approval rating is just getting massively worse, breaking a new record high disapproval and a new record low approval.
Wow.
This is just, it's getting bad. Disapproval is at 52.3. His approval is down to 43. And look at this major spike.
Wow.
Regular people are starting to wake up to what's going on. Joe Biden is bad. He is corrupt. His leadership is failing this country. We got a southern border crisis, an economic crisis, a jobs crisis, a mass resignation crisis, an inflation crisis, stagflation, shrinkflation, just any kind of flation. Just make
We
up
got
the
it,
word.
yeah.
He got all of them. Enough to go around for everybody.
It looks like that inflection point's right about when he came out with this mandate nonsense.
It's true. Yeah, right around the time he announced the mandate, when the mandate started becoming big, there was
Yeah.
a major swap.
And by the way, those aren't actual mandates. OSHA has not approved these things yet.
That's right. It was his announcement of a rule to be, and OSHA has not implemented any rules, and there's no executive order. Yet we're seeing all these businesses just go along with it. This is what I think. A lot of people anti-elected Trump. As we mentioned over and over again on the show, that there was that article, just stay alive, Joe Biden.
Right.
And this is what you get when you don't have a legitimate administration. And what I mean by that is an administration that is actually going to do the job, that is actually having the meetings. Joe Biden is probably asleep with a burlap blanket on his laps in the sun, snoring all day, while Kamala is just like, what do I got to do to make it seem like I'm working? Give me some
Cackling
child
somewhere.
actors or something, and I'll just pretend, and then I'm done, right? That's where we're at. You are here.
Yep. So Biden was unelected, and we're seeing the result of choosing people based on like the color of their skin and their gender and sexual orientation. We're seeing Pete Buttigieg being totally incompetent, Kamala Harris just cackling her way through being a terrible vice president. It's
Cackling
insane.
her way through the vice
so
presidency.
Bad. It's so bad. But this is what happens when you hire people based on, checking a demographic box. They're totally incompetent, and everyone's shocked by this.
It's also kind of what happens when you treat the political realm like a reality TV show. They want monkey dance, and then they get entertainers and stupid people in charge doing the dance, and the people that are willing to do the dance, and everyone else builds spaceships.
So
Who's building a spaceship?
is there?
Elon.
I just
Jeff
want
Bezos.
to.
Mr. Musk.
Can I take a chance to just drive something home?
Yes.
We are living in a postmodern era. I keep screaming about this on Twitter, and this is how I kind of built my following. We are now living in postmodernism.
Is that why it doesn't make sense?
That is why, it's not
Awesome.
coherent. It doesn't need to make
Right.
sense. This is postmodernism.
Right.
I always say that Trump is our first postmodern president. He was the first president of the fully postmodern age, the age of narrative where truth doesn't matter. So you can see that in the entire media circus around Trump, where even the fact checks aren't real.
Right.
Right? They're not, the fact checks are not to check if the facts are real. They're to check if they're the appropriate facts that they approve of.
Right.
Are these approved facts? Are these the facts that are helpful to us? Right? So that's what goes on there. And then as we move through the Biden presidency, everything about it is fake. They built a fake room so that he could pretend to be in the White House.
Right.
We had Kamala bring child actors on so she could pretend to be surprised and have an authentic moment.
Right.
And to be genuine, allegedly.
Yeah, so we had a fake genuine moment.
Yeah, that's great. Yeah.
we're going to stage a genuine moment for the people.
It'll be good, yeah.
So that the people can have a genuine moment to look at while they're watching President Biden get vaccinated in the White House.
Fake room, yeah.
In the fake room in the White House. This is all simulation. It's completely it's an era of complete and utter inauthenticity. So there is nothing about it which touches reality at any point. It's entirely staged. It doesn't refer to anything. Nothing about it is rooted in the real world experience of anybody. That's why you have actors who audition for it. It's not just they brought actors in and said, have a good time, or brought actors in and said, here are your lines. They brought actors in and said, you have to audition for the genuineness and surprise. How do you audition for a surprise? How do you audition to be surprised? What does that even mean?
Well, actors probably do it all the time in movies or whatever.
Yeah.
I think a better word than simulation is simulacrum.
Yes.
The simulation implies there's a functioning, system, and we're trying. Is it real? Is it
Someone's
no?
in
It's a
charge.
caricature, and I wanted to make sure I got the definition right. An insubstantial replication. It is very obvious. It's like a caricature. We're looking at a caricature of an administration.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Yeah.
I would agree with that.
I think James O'Keefe really characterized this well, where he compared what's happening now to 1984, when they're asking you to reject the evidence of your eyes and ears. So I think we're at that particular phase right now where literally we have evidence, we have photos, we have documentation, we have witnesses, we have whistleblowers coming forward, screaming, saying, hey, there's some awful things happening in this world. There's some really bad people doing horrible things. And then the mainstream media is like, it's weather. There's bad weather, and regurgitating all this nonsense and lies that is absolutely nonsensical. And anyone paying attention to anything that's happening is just an insult to their intelligence.
I got a feeling that because it seems like since the internet, I started noticing them lying and creating a mass narrative that's not real. But before the internet, I never realized it. But I think they were just doing it then anyway. They're just using ABC News to push it. And now at least it's obvious that there's no weapons of mass destruction in Iraq.
Yeah. And it's not just child actors that they're hiring. They're hiring social media influencers. They're hiring doctors. They're hiring other actors. They're hiring everyone to kind of prop them up as this kind of legitimate force. And then when we really look at it, a lot of it is phony. A lot of it is based on lies. A lot of it is based on, here, we'll give you this money, just say these lines. And sadly, some people do that.
Do you guys know the story? We've talked about it a lot. Kierkegaard's clown. He comes out and he's like, there's a fire in the back. And then everyone starts laughing. And he's like, no, seriously, there's a fire. And they laugh even harder. And he says, I think that's how the world will end, or whatever. It kind of feels like it's the other way around. There's a small group of us, and we're sitting in the audience, and on TV is all of these people that are all pretending like there's no fire, and we're the ones yelling back like there is a fire, and they're like, no. And they're putting on a show. They're performing. It kind of feels like we now exist with a government of people who are basically like, oh, what time is it? What do I have to do to pretend to do the job so that I can get paid and go home? Kamala Harris comes out with some child actors. Biden builds a fake set. You know what? Why? I don't understand the fake set, but I can say Biden likes to go home a lot.
Sure does.
But none of these people want to be working.
Well,
you hire people who weren't right for the job. This is what you get.
To be fair, I understand people don't want to be at work most of the time. I can't really relate because I love my job. But I will say that this very much to me looks like a case of bread and circuses. And when you're seeing it in your politics, I think that's unsettling. That's a serious issue.
So can I throw something out?
Yeah.
I'd like to toss something out. I think what we're seeing is what I like to call the strawberry Slurpee of a presidency. Okay, so here's what I mean. Suppose we go back in time and we find some original, natural, organic strawberries. We pick them, we eat them, they taste pretty good. Fast forward to the 1960s, and all of a sudden we can farm strawberries, and we only take the biggest, reddest, juiciest strawberries for consumption. We'll call that a productive copy. Well, then someone comes along and says, hey, we're those big, juicy strawberries. Well, we can make a strawberry candy out of it. Okay, well then we go a little further and someone else says, yeah, we can make a strawberry candy, but we're going to add some sugar. Okay, then someone else comes along and says, yeah, well, we'll make a strawberry candy, but we'll use corn syrup instead of sugar. Then someone else says, we'll make a soft drink of the candy. And then somebody else comes along and says, we are going to make a strawberry Slurpee that is flavored like the soda, that is flavored like the candy, that is flavored like the straw. And all of a sudden, you're so far away from the original thing that they're not even comparable. The flavor of the strawberry Slurpee is nothing like the flavor of the organic thing. What we have right now for a presidency is nothing like what it's supposed to be. It's entirely what they think people expect a presidency to look like. That's why they have to build a set so they can get the perfect angle so that they can create the image of what they think people expect a presidency to be at the cost of what an actual presidency might actually be if one was really occurring.
I do got some bad news to add to that. I think raspberry might be a better example. Because you guys know where they get the flavoring for a raspberry artificial flavor?
Beavers?
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, it's beaver anus.
Yeah, it's
Castorum?
beavers. Yeah.
It's the beaver anal gland, I think it is.
Beaver butt.
So
That's perfect.
You think you're eating this delicious. It's strawberry. They say you're eating a strawberry, and you take a bite, and you're like, it's kind of like strawberry.
Castoreum,
and they're
the
like,
yellowish
it's not real. It's actually just from beaver butt. That's
right.
That's Biden's presidency.
Yeah, you're eating some artificial GMO Monsanto gene spliced strawberry shake that doesn't taste anything like it was supposed to.
And it came from a
you're
beaver butt.
convinced that this is normal since this is what they gave you since you were a little small child.
The even worse about that is that the flavor is not the point. It's what the nutrition you get from a strawberry.
Bingo.
When you eat. So now we've got mutilated disflavor, and you're not even getting any of the nutrition that you need from the valid strawberry presidency.
It's not just Biden; it's everything. It's
Yes.
the whole government. It's the whole government. It's Congress. It's the Senate.
I think they built that room for like implementing a special teleprompter that's really big that they can't
Big
fit in the White
letters.
House,
Yeah.
or just some kind of new medical advice that like wakes him up and zaps him. Or there has to be some reason, some kind of official explanation.
He's got a gigantic series of cables in his back that go down into a massive power system. It's a giant reactor to keep him alive. He's Robo Biden.
That would make more sense.
You remember when
That would make more sense.
Franklin Delano Roosevelt started? He got paralyzed. I think was it polio that took his legs, his walk?
Yeah.
Wasn't he always paralyzed?
No, not in the beginning of his presidency, and they hid it for like I don't know how long, 2 years or something. They hid it.
Yep.
So what I imagine with Biden, I mean, the guy is decrepit. If that's the right word, he's like almost falling over.
He's a
He
zombie.
talks
That is the right word, yes.
Like if you listen to 10 years ago, are they hiding it? They've done it before.
Definitely.
Yeah, I don't know, but I want to go back to your point about the nutrition thing because I think it's just a perfect point. All of the stuff that should be going on in Congress isn't. None of it's going on. But if you go to Congress, it sure looks like there's stuff going. You've got people in suits walking around,
Things are
very
happening.
important people. People are exchanging business cards. There's Capitol Hill Police. There's a lot of people that are walking around looking very, very busy. They're holding votes on things. Nothing's going on. It's entirely fake. This is Baudrillard's point, and this is why I say we're living in a postmodern moment. We are living in a time of the image is what matters. The substance is almost utterly irrelevant if it's even seen at all.
Thanks for checking out this clip from the Timcast IRL podcast. If you want to see the full show, come back to this channel, youtube.com/TimcastIRL, Monday through Friday at 8 p.m., where you can leave comments and super chat, and we actually will read your comments on the show. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and if you want exclusive members-only content, segments you can't get anywhere else, go to timcast.com, become a member, and we even have full bonus episodes. Thanks for hanging out, and we'll see you all next time.